Okay, well, I'm today we're going to be editing a story one of my friends put together. It's a children's book, so it's a little bit shorter. So yeah, I've read it in the past, so I have a little bit of context, but I'm curious to see how it's changed. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. It's called Watermelon Soup. Popo is Gobi's grandmother. One summer, Joby? Gobi? Joby. I'm going to say Joby. Popo is Joby's grandmother. One summer, Joby stays with Popo at her home in Minnesota. Joby loves to spend time with Popo, helping her garden and cook. One day, Leo, a friend in the neighborhood, stops over to play at Popo's. In the garden, he asks, "What is it, a cucumber or a zucchini?" "It's a watermelon, or a don qua," says Joby. Leo smiles. "Don qua," he repeats. "I've never eaten wintermelon before." "Excuse me, wintermelon soup." Misread. Before he says, they stand over the garden. "Popo grows them here during the hot summer. We make soup with this wintermelon when it is bigger and ripe. I want to try them now." Popo says to have patience for the right time, says Joby. Popo smiles. So, one thing I would recommend, at least for like the editing and reading, in the past, even like I remember like a few of my friends had done children's books, and they would always have the visuals in the actual narrative. So then they would have like, they walk into a garden. It's cold outside, or there's snow, and we see them exit the house. So like this type of stuff helps give context, even if you I think Naomi's plan is to self-publish here, but even if that's the case, it probably will help you kind of know where things are, especially because a short children's book needs to be really, really tight and on point. So like all the narrative needs to like make sense. So let me see. Okay, cool. And I'll probably do another pass on just like the wording and stuff, because I think one, you want short sentences depending on the age group you're going for. So sometimes like you can say that up top, like, hey, this is for like, ages like 3 to 5, whatever. I don't really know what. 5 to 6 there. Okay. Cucumber dongwon. Okay. We will make soup with this watermelon when it's bigger and ripe. I want to try them now, but Popo says to have patience for the right time, says Joby. Popo smiles. All that summer, Leo and Joby visit the garden. Every day they watch it grow bigger. They ask Popo if it is ready to eat. Each day, Popo tells them it's not time yet. Finally, one day, Popo tells them they must wait one more week for the watermelon to ripen. A week later, in the afternoon, Popo rests on the couch and falls asleep. Tiptoe to the garden, careful not to wake Popo. I think it's time. With caution, to Popo's wise words the week before, Leo says, kind of weird wording here. Yeah, so I mean, if you're gonna make the really simple sentence structure, you kind of want to stick with it. So like, using stuff like with caution, or like those types of dependent clauses. Those can sometimes throw things off. Hey Fox, how's it going? Thanks for the chat. Let me see. What's up? Oh, I gotta sign in first. Hold on. Bam. Hey, Fox Lady. Okay. The foxy lady. That sounds like some sort of I don't know what. So yeah, someone's chatting. So just if that's any context for the video. Uh, Leo helps push the big wintermelon. Together they push with such strength that it rolls too far down the stairs and breaking into pieces on the floor. She knows now that was not the time. Okay, hold on. I think I missed something. Leo says, we should wait for Popo to see if they are ripe. Too excited, Joby does not listen. She dusts the dirt off the melon, picks it off the vine, and pushes the melon inside. Leo helps push the big wintermelon. Together they push with such strength that it rolls too far down the stairs and breaks into pieces. Across the floor. She knows now that it was not the time. She wishes she had listened and waited for Popo. Popo awakes from the noise. "Aya," Popo says, in the shock of what her eyes see. You probably don't need to add this extra bit, because we expect if she's shocked, it's based on something she's seen or experienced. So we'll assume that that's what she sees. In shock, Joby and Leo's heads hang from their shoulders. They stare at the scattered pieces below. Joby knows that it would not be until next summer and 3 months to grow another wintermelon. Joby and Leo know they cannot grow another one before dinner. So, I'm going to probably finish the read, but one thing to be aware of here is you want to add the stakes earlier. So this is like the cost of failure, right? You want to know what it is when they're getting into this risky situation and when they're making their choices, because it makes whatever choices the characters make that much more impactful. Because like if I know after the choice, if I see like this consequence, it's like, oh, that's not so great. But if I know like what's at stake while they're making the choice, it's a lot more impactful. So I would move this description of the stakes earlier in the story. Let me all right. Now there's no wintermelon for wintermelon soup. But Popo, in her patience months ago, has tucked away a wintermelon in storage for safekeeping. She knows that wintermelons can store up to 12 months and can be eaten even later, even in winter. She carries a wintermelon in the kitchen. Joby and Leo look at Popo in awe. "Let's cook," Popo says finally. "Now it's time to make our wintermelon soup." Joby wipes her tears on her sleeve. Popo gathers the dried scallops, shrimp, and black Chinese mushrooms, puts the ingredients in the pot. Together, Joby and Leo put the wintermelon into the pot. Be careful when you have, even unless you're like going for parallelism, if you have too many like words like that are the same, like pot, and it doesn't look like this is kind of like a parallel structure, it's going to kind of sound off. So just be careful for repetitive words. Without Leo and Joby smile at each other as Leo tastes wintermelon soup for the first time. They love spending time with Popo, and Popo loves spending time with them too. "Donqua," I think Leo says as they each slurp down their bowls of watermelon soup. Okay, great story. There's probably a few things we want to think about. One, I like the tone. I think the tone is really solid. There's kind of a few things just to be aware of, right? Like usually, stories are kind of about the characters, learning through their choices, and kind of what happened. So one that's like, I think you have a really good setup with the characters making a choice and saying, "Hey, we're gonna go get this watermelon early." But I really want to see that brought out, because I think you have a good moment here. But there's two things that are kind of putting that choice and like how the characters grow through that choice at risk. One is an kind of a Deus Ex Machina. Everything's okay. Grandma had another watermelon. Whatever decisions they made are kind of nullified by the fact that Grandma's got another watermelon just like ready to go right here. So yeah, it wipes your tears on her sleeve. So like in one moment, like it kind of all the decisions that were made on the first half of the story are kind of canceled out by this like everything's okay watermelon. I would at least set it up. or Wintermelon, sorry. Yeah, that's something just to be aware of. I don't think it's like the end of the world, but you kind of run the risk of kind of cheapening the bad decisions the characters made by immediately making it okay. Other stuff to think about as well are in the beginning, I don't necessarily see never eaten a watermelon before, bigger and ripe. If it's ready to eat, Popo tells him it's not time yet, and it tells him one more week. So this, I really want to see this set up. There's not really much of a theme of impatience. I mean, because it's like, I think part of like the theme of the story is, it seems to be like around, hey, be patient, trusting Popo, like those types of things. I want to see them be at conflict with that and like wrestling. So I want to set up the anything grandma. I like grandpa, that's kind of a weird word. Just like show that this will be a tough decision for them is what the story will revolve around. So I think what happens is that we don't really know what the kids are going to learn early on. Like usually on, like showing that these are just impatient kids early gives us a sense that, oh, now we give them something to be impatient about, and then we're going to see them learn from that. It doesn't really seem to be as well structured as all that just yet. So I think you have the good setup of like when they have to choose what to do based off the watermelon. I don't know if you're really setting it up for that yet. So I think what's happening is, you kind of have this good situation where the kids make their choice, but I want to see them like, like struggle with impatience to say like, hey, don't use this watermelon. Or maybe like in the first scene, they're impatient about something, and we know that that's something that's going to be a risk for them. Like, hey, like he wants his, Wintermelon sooner, but Popo says, wait, you have to be patient. And then she asks Popo again, then you can have that repetition that kind of that age group likes, where you're like, hey, it's summer now. Is the Wintermelon ready? And then she's like, no, it's still not ready. And then it's like a fall scene, and then it's like, oh, it's fall now. Is Wintermelon ready? No, it's Wintermelon. It's fall. Those don't make sense. So like those are the types of things that you probably want to think about doing, right? Because I think we jump to like their decision being about impatience, because like down here, Popo, yes. So Popo passes out, and then Joby's like, "Let's do this," and like it seems a little bit uninspired because I haven't seen them wanting to like eat the watermelon yet. So Popo is actually the one that's telling them, "Hey guys, it's gonna be ready in a week." It's not them being like, "Hey, when is it gonna be ready?" So those are the types of switches you can make to clarify that it's the kids that are asking Popo and being impatient and those types of things. So yeah, I mean, disregarding like the warning, like those are good things to have, but I really want to see a strong rolling because I didn't see much of a why. Like Popo hasn't given any wise words. She just said it's gonna be ready in a week. Like like the cookies are gonna be done in an hour. Doesn't strike me as like wisdom. That strikes me as just like a deadline. So like maybe Popo gives some adage like, hey, like, it's better to wait and be smart, or like it's better to wait and be prepared, and then she's the one that's prepared in the end, and that kind of sets that up. But those are the types of things that I would really. So I think it's good you have your kind of decision focused around these kids trying to get the watermelon early. But I would really make sure that you're building up for that decision in the beginning, and then you're paying it off in the end with like making that decision have consequences. Maybe it's like not as good as the first Wintermelon, whatever, and then the kids learn from that. I mean, I think it's not like the end of the world, but I think when you have like such a short piece of fiction, you really want to make sure that it's like super like every word counts. You know, there's some other things that I would consider looking into, like sometimes like the sentence structure sounds a little bit off. Popo is Joby's grandmother. One summer, Joby stays with Popo at her home in Minnesota. Joby loves to spend time with Popo, helping him garden and cook. That's good. That's kind of the short sentence. One day, Leo, a friend in the neighborhood, stops over to see and asks, "What is it? A cucumber or zucchini?" What is what? So like, I don't even know that. You know, what is it? Like, what does that it refer to? Those types of things. Maybe he points at a funny-looking melon. You know, well, one, that may be happening in the pictures, but two, if you're going to reference an it, it's like the pictures, and this is like, take my words with a grain of salt. I took a children's book class a long time ago, so, but this is like one of the things, like the pictures and the words still have to function a little bit independently. So like if I'm having an it, a you know, pronoun in my words, I actually kind of have to be bringing up like, oh, he saw a strange-looking melon. He pointed to the strange-looking melon. What is that? Those types of things can really help the read a lot. So probably like as far as priorities, I can kind of write up here. What are your favorite parts of the plot? What probably just changing? Oops. Well, hello. I liked the part where I liked that the kids made a moral choice. That doesn't always happen. To be patient or not. I think it needs to be more set up. And there needs to be a clear sense of loss before Popo comes in with another winter. Yeah, so I think that's like the thing, because like it's so like the fix is so fast. So like, yeah, it's like, yeah. Hold on. Yeah, but yeah, I probably have to wrap up right now. But yeah, okay. So, what's the most engaging, realistic about any of the characters? What's the least engaging, realistic? I think the most engaging and realistic thing is definitely you know, just kids being impatient and like learning to like trust their elders, because I think it's like kind of like that dual thing where like, hey, you first have to learn to trust your elders, and then you kind of have to learn to like know, you know, what's what. So I think that's realistic, like those types of issues. I mean, I would really want to build it up, make sure that I know that I'm not surprised by these characteristics. Make the flaws of the kids page 1. I just want to see them, because those are very realistic flaws, but I just don't see them until, you know, further down. Themes or values, what suggestions do you have to make? Yeah, I kind of went over that in my notes. What did you most enjoy? You changed about the story. I really did enjoy that the kids were making like a real choice, like trying to like harvest this melon on their own. They were being sneaky. They were taking a risk. I'd actually expand that part out a lot more. That's where the real conflict is. I would expand. Make that like a bigger. I think you have a lot of, you know, not like, I think you have a lot of room to make the beginning and ending more concise, especially the beginning, and then you can build up that middle where a lot of this conflict is happening, where these kids are making the choices, you know, that kind of just decide the story. Additional comment, plots, characters, and themes. I think all my other additional comments are below. So this was a very fast review today, because I got to. I have to run in part, but I hope these notes help. Let me know if you have any questions, and I can't wait to read future drafts. Thanks again.